Everyone, my name is Lily Winsaft, and I do see some new names here today. And so welcome to the 8th Chakra Company's Tuesday Night Call. This is a brand new series. We started it last week, so today is the second episode of this series. There's going to be 7 total episodes. Healing humanity, and oh my gosh, aren't we all interested in healing humanity? But it does absolutely start with us. So this is our flagship product. We call it the Tuesday Night Call. It didn't always have that name, but since we always did it on Tuesday night, Bonnie and I decided, hey, why don't we just call it the Tuesday Night Call? This way everybody is always really clear that it's on a Tuesday night, and it's always at 7:30. And I don't know if you can tell, but Bonnie and I are very passionate about what we do here. And we started the 8th Chakra Company so that with the purpose of helping us all of us humans, to create for ourselves the ability to master what it is to be human, because we figure we already kind of know what it is to be spiritual, even though in our unconsciousness we don't realize that we are. But if we needed to be more spiritual, we would just have stayed in the spirit world. But we're here in these physical bodies so that we could master what it is to be physical, master what it is to be human, and master what it is to be a creator in a human body, because that is where the rough times happen, is in this physical body. When we're not in a physical body, everything is really all honky-dory. So Bonnie and I started the 8th Chakra Company about 2 or 3 years. It's been 3 years, I think. Oh my gosh, time is just flying. And these calls are really about bringing everyday conversations to a whole new frequency. Your frequency is raised just by you being here. And this is what is meant by ascension. It's the raising of low frequencies into high frequencies like love and compassion and forgiveness. And this is, Bonnie and I, this is our mantra. This is what we talk about. And we're both Akashic Records readers. We're expert Akashic Records readers. And if you don't know what Akashic Records are, you can get a taste of that on this call today. And we're also mastery level alchemists. In addition to that, we practice theta healing, which we will be doing downloads, and we will be bringing in a lot of healing. As a matter of fact, I'm already seeing a lot of frequencies being downloaded to everybody that's on the call. Whether you're listening to us live or you're going to be listening to this recording later on, you are going to be receiving a lot of healing today. And oh my gosh, we are definitely in for a treat. So go ahead, Bonnie, why don't you tell these beautiful people what makes us different?
Awesome. Awesome. I would absolutely love to. So there are some unique differences with Lily and I from other people who might be doing calls out there. The very first thing is that we do work intimately with the angelic realm and with the masters in the Akashic realm. We are constantly connecting with our own information in a way that other people may or may not. We really are happy that we can connect with that information. Second, as Lily said, we do open the Akashic Records before we do this call, and we open it for the 8th Chakra community with the purpose, the express intent of getting unique information that we haven't gotten before, so that we're bringing you fresh, new perspectives and awareness that you can't find anywhere else. And the third thing that we do is that we absolutely set an intention. We set an intention when we are getting ready to get on the call, but we also set an intention for all of us here. And we want to remember who we are. We want to know the powerful information that is available to us. And we want to have some clear awareness around worry, fear, and all the words that are related to that, so that we can move more of those low vibrations out of our bodies, out of our awareness, and step into some more bliss and love and joy and some of those higher frequencies that we all really want more of. So we are very excited to have all of you here tonight. And just a quick reminder that if you want to listen to us again, you're going to be able to get the recording tomorrow, the links to SoundCloud and to YouTube. So if you ever want to listen to them again, or if you want to pass them on to a friend, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so before I tell everybody how you're going to be able to participate, I do have an announcement that we might have talked about it at the end of the call, but I just feel like telling you all right now, because there's a lot of new people on the call. We have a brand new website that Bonnie and I have been literally biting our nails over for months now, trying to launch this website. And it is finally available. So if you go to www.8thchakra.com, that's the number 8thchakra.com, we actually have a glossary on this website that is going to give you the definitions of a lot of the words that we use. If you're on this call for the first time, you might hear things that you're like, what is that? What is that? Just go to our website. Chances are it's in the glossary, and you'll be able to receive an explanation about what are all these terms and phrases that we use. Because we use a lot of common phrases, but our significance and the way that we use these words and these phrases are not necessarily the way they are popularly used. And so you want to kind of get in with the groove of the conversation that we're having so you can really understand what we're talking about. All right, so this is an hour call, and the first half hour, which we're already into, is really about you participating. The topic of today, inside of the series of Healing Humanity, is about fear and worry. Have you ever thought about how fear and worry impacts your life and how it impacts humanity? That's what this call is about. So we want you to participate. We want you to raise your hand, and then we'll unmute you so that you can ask a question, or you can also chat it to us. At the bottom of your screen, there's a little box that says chat. If you click on that, it'll bring you up the chat menu, and you can chat something to us, and we'll catch you. And you can also raise your hand, and when we have the time, I mean, if everybody's participating at the same time, obviously we have to go by order of how we see the hands being raised. But we want you to participate because Bonnie and I, we meet a lot and we talk a lot. We see each other at least 4 or 5 times a week, over breakfast, over lunch, over a glass of wine. And we talk a lot and we share a lot about what's going on. So we want to hear your voice. Not only is it important for you to participate because we want to hear your voice and we want to know what's on your mind, but because in the second half of the call, when we start to invoke the Ascended Masters and the Masters, Teachers, and Loved Ones that are in the Akashic Realm and the Akashic Records that we have opened for all of you, for this community, those questions that you ask in the first half of the call are going to be answered in the second half of the call. Those questions are not answered by Bonnie and me, although sometimes our essence does chime in. We are connected to our 12th chakra information, which means we have a very clear connection with our 12th chakra and with the information that we're receiving from these higher realms. But the purpose of us doing that second half of the call is that we are actually bringing in wisdom and information and knowledge from the Akashic realm and from the angelic realm and from the Ascended Masters. And they have a lot to share with us. And they're really here to give us a hand and help us in our ascension process as we're moving up the ladder of evolution as a human being and as a soul in a body. So that's why it's important for you to raise your hand and ask those questions. And again, if you're really shy, go ahead and just chat it to us. We'll catch it. Either Bonnie and I will catch it. We got 4 sets of eyes, plus we have 2 third eyes that are working with us. So we have our physical eyes and we have our third eye that's working on overload to catch you all. And it's a lot of fun because we never know what that information that's going to come through, and we don't know what the healings are going to happen. And right now I am feeling a download that's coming in for all of us. And this is a download of clarity. And I'm seeing a beautiful gold white light coming through for everybody in the crown chakra so that you can be present in this call and really receive the golden nugget. And just the way that we set up an intention, you should have an intention too. Create an intention for yourself and say to yourself, I want to get X out of this call. I want to bring a solution or a resolution to a health issue or to a problem in my family or to a problem with a relationship that I'm having. And let's have that get resolved. Just put it on the table. You don't have to even speak it out loud because these masters know, and the angelic realm knows exactly what you're going through. So we're going to resolve that, and we're going to bring in healing for every single person on this call. And again, whether you're listening live or you're listening to a recording, you're going to receive the relief that you're looking for. But I can definitely feel it. It's very, very strongly, a huge white gold light coming in through the crown of everybody's, the top of your head, your crown chakra. The information is coming in for clarity and comprehension. So it's beautiful. White gold and also peach frequencies coming in for all of us. So, all right, we're ready, Bonnie. Come on, let's go.
We are ready. We are ready. And I love that we are getting the clarity coming in because that allows all of us to hear. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Watch me unmute myself. Lily, you are so in charge. You're just in charge of all that stuff. So let's talk about this, about fear and what fear is. And the very first thing that I would like to bring up is the idea that when we say fear, we are talking about the big category of fear. Often when I am doing a healing with someone and I say something about I'm going to move more of the fear out of your body, the person will say to me, I'm not afraid. I don't have any fear, which there's a little comedy in that, right? A little that they would go, I'm not afraid.
I'm afraid of being afraid.
And so I just want to make it really clear up front that when we talk about fear, we're talking about the category of fear. So I love that Lily went and you actually did the thesaurus, right, and came up with a whole bunch of words: horror, panic, anxiety, trepidation, angst, not being enough, loss, uneasiness, distress, alarm, dismay, consternation, distress, twitchiness, jitteriness. And any of those words or anything that you can think of is what we're talking about when we're talking about the category of fear. And it does not matter whether you are alarmed or you are dismayed. It is a low frequency that we really don't want to have in our body if we don't have to. And we are able to move some of that for you tonight. So let's just go ahead and do it, right?
Yes, there's a lot. And fear shows up in so many ways, and it definitely impacts not just ourselves as individuals, but it impacts humanity. And if you think about history and the wars that we have had, we don't even have to go very far. I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, there's been constant tragedies that have happened on this planet. And that all arises out of fear. Fear that we're not powerful enough, fear that someone else will be more powerful than us, fear that we'll be taken over, fear that there's not enough, fear that there's not enough water, fear that there's not enough food, fear that there's not enough fill in the blank, because we all have that. So fear shows up in a lot of different ways. And as that fear comes in as a frequency, and if we entertain that frequency, what happens when we entertain something, when we put our attention on something, it just grows and gets bigger and bigger. So that's what this call is about. It's about, let's distinguish that fear, and then let's have it not be who we are, because it's not our truth. Fear and pain and worry and anxiety and depression, that is not who we are. But I bet if we did a survey and asked each one of you privately, what are you afraid of? You probably will start to discern that you identify yourself with your fears. You identify yourself with that anxiety that you feel in the morning before you have to go to work, or you identify yourself with that depression that keeps you having a difficulty getting out of bed on a rainy day. So however fear is showing up for you, it's really important for you to be able to discern it and to say, you know what, that's not my truth. That is a low frequency that I am carrying probably from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, where, you know what, it was legitimate to be afraid. You know, we've been in situations where it was really a legitimate reason for us to be afraid. That's the flight and the fight and flight instinct that we have to get away from danger. So fear does have a purpose. Fear is not a bad thing. Fear can keep us safe in moments when we have to be safe. The problem is when we go into fear in moments when there's not a need, because when there's not a need to be afraid and we go into that fight or flight, we're releasing hormones that are actually bringing harm to our body. So, and those hormones have molecules that actually interact with the cell membranes and cause dis-ease. So fear and pain and all those words that Bonnie used, anxiety and angst and worry and depression and all those things have, those frequencies have molecules that literally interact with our cell membranes and cause what we could call dis-ease. That is a lack of ease in our life. So we're all about bringing in ease and grace. And that's now what's coming. That's the frequency that's coming in right now. The grace frequencies are very orange and yellowish. They're kind of like imagine a beautiful sunset that is orange and glows. That's the color of grace. So imagine if you could deal with everything in your life, even those things that you have a legitimate reason to be afraid of. What if you could relate to them from a place of grace instead of from a place of fight or flight? That would be miraculous for humanity, not just for yourself. So let's go. All right, let's open up the calls and see, what questions do you have? What questions do you have that you'd like to bring up? There's a word in Spanish called inquietud. And if you speak Spanish, you know what I mean. Inquietud is like an uneasiness, something that is like tickling you in your heart and say, oh, I want to know more about that. So all of you have that. All of you have that little tickle going on inside of you that says, oh, I would love to ask a question about this, or I would like to ask a question about that, or I have an uncertainty about this. So come on and raise your hands and let us unmute you so that you can participate in the call. Don't be shy.
Absolutely. I mean, if you have something particular that you are in fear of. I guarantee you, if you share it, there are going to be other people that listen to this recording that have that as well. So, yeah. So there we go. So we have, I feel like my fear is causing me to stay at an unhealthy weight. How can I get rid of the anxiety? You want to do that one, Lily?
Sure. You're absolutely fear. Well, and that's the whole thing about unhealthy weight. That is a frequency that is very much impacted by the human collective. And it's a recent human collective too, because if you just look at advertising, you can see where we are told that in order to be healthy, we have to be skinny, we have to be a certain weight. And so there's a lot of influences that give us that fear about, oh, maybe I'm 10 pounds overweight, or maybe I'm 40 pounds overweight. And the more anxiety, the more fear we feel around that, the more it tends to keep us in place. It's kind of like trying to get out of quicksand. The more you resist something, the more you fight it, the more it's going to stay in place. That's a natural physical law, actually, that what you resist persists. And so how do we alchemize that? So the first thing is to trust that your soul knows what it's doing in terms of what is a healthy weight for you. And what is a healthy weight for you is not necessarily what the advertisers are saying is a healthy weight for you. Not even what the doctors are saying is a healthy weight for you. You got to look within, ask your heart, what is that right healthy weight for myself? And then ask your higher self to give you the information that you need in order to relate to your health in a healthy way. The minute that you start to relate to your health, to your weight in a healthy way, you begin to attract more feelings of gratitude and appreciation. There's a huge, wow. So the information I'm getting is that 70% of the people on this call, whether you're live or listening to this recording, 70% of the people on this call have a disempowering relationship with weight and health. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's huge. So if we think of the 8th chakra community, which is all of you, if we think of us as like kind of like a cross section of humanity, because really that's what we are. We're a cross section of humanity. We're like a sampling of humanity. That means that 70% of humanity has an unhealthy relationship, or not unhealthy. Let's not, that word brings to mind like judgment, but let's call it disempowering in the sense that we don't have power about it, because we're being influenced by the decisions and the quote unquote facts that are being given to us by society and by culture. And sometimes it's just by our mother. I mean, did your mother ever tell you, oh, you're too fat, you need to lose some weight? Or why don't you try to lose a little bit of weight? Don't eat that candy. So we're influenced by family, we're influenced by our parents, we're influenced by teachers. So the more that we can move away from all of that and understand that all the truth is within us. And that really is the first thing to do. So for all of us, let's start practicing listening to our own truth versus all the truth, quote unquote, that is being thrown at us by society, culture, and for crying out loud, advertising and the medical community. So trust is a huge thing, because we have the information within us available to us. So this is part of the clarity that's moving in for all of us, is to be able to receive the information that will allow us to step into the relationship that we have with our weight, and not just our weight, but our health in general, in a way that is empowering, in a way that has us feel ease and grace. And I would say, from the information that I'm receiving and from what I know, that trust is the most important thing that we can do, is to trust our soul. So I hope that's helpful.
Absolutely. And, I was actually a health coach before I started doing this. And it's one of the reasons why I moved from being a health coach into doing energy work, because, the things that you learn as a health coach and the pressures about what you eat and how you eat do not really address those soul aspects that Lily was talking about. And there are times that your soul absolutely needs to eat. And it needs to eat because it needs to ground, because it needs to have some additional piece of information that I don't always know. And I am certainly aware of what I should be eating, what I shouldn't be eating. And I am definitely in that 70% of people who wake up in the morning and turn sideways and look at that stuff. But it is, as I move more low frequencies out of my body, I look at myself in that way less and less. And that's just low frequency. And it is awesome that next week, the Tuesday night before Thanksgiving, we are going to be talking about judgment. So there is no doubt that we are going to be talking about all of that again next week. So one of the things I really want to explain to you all is my own personal experience with fear around, because we live in South Florida, Lily and I live in South Florida, I'm going to use the example of a hurricane because it's really, I think it's helpful if we start to understand how we can actually, we create fear. And when we speak fear, we're actually creating things out into the world that we do not want to create. So, at times when we have a hurricane coming, I have just recently been able to see energy, and I can literally walk into the grocery store, and you can imagine there's a hurricane coming. Everybody rushes to the grocery store because they need to make sure they have enough canned food and enough water. And they walk into the grocery store with that fear on their minds, like, oh my gosh, is there going to be water left? Am I going to be able to get some canned tuna? Whatever their thought is. And when you start to be able to see energy or know energy, feel energy, you can actually see that there are creations. And to me, they show up as very dark. I kind of can see them like dark clouds forming, almost how you would see them in the sky. And they are like hanging, sometimes dripping from the ceiling and from different things in the grocery store. And it is literally because people walk in who don't understand energy, who are speaking it into existence. They're putting it out there. And so we can make a difference just in the way we talk. It might be just a really subtle thing that you don't give much thought to, but when something happens and you go into fear, if you take a moment to stop and to quiet yourself down and like look at that, like what is that? What do I need to learn from that? How can I move out of that and move into a higher frequency? We can literally start to change the world because it doesn't take very many people to make a shift like that to start making a difference in the world. So I want to bring that to everybody's attention, how important how we talk is.
Absolutely. And you bring up such a great point, Bonnie, because the speaking of it, speaking comes from the throat. Our voice boxes are in our throat, which is our fifth chakra. And this chakra is the most vulnerable chakra in our entire system. And it's vulnerable and very, very powerful. But sometimes power comes with vulnerability. And so when we are speaking into low frequencies, we are actually attracting more of that. And Bonnie could tell you a lot about all the laws of the universe in her book. So if you haven't read Bonnie's book, you got to grab it. But the law of attraction, obviously, is you're attracting more of that which you're giving attention to. And if you're giving attention to low frequencies, you're simply going to be attracting more low frequencies. And your throat is vulnerable and susceptible to being shut down. And that's why there's such a high incidence of throat problems. This is why when we get a cold or we get a flu, one of the first places that gets attacked, we usually start with a tickle in our throat that becomes a full-blown throat infection. And so this is an important indication. This is our souls trying to tell us that we need to bring more healing into our throat by speaking high frequencies. When we speak high frequencies, we are actually bringing in light, and we're bringing in the ability for our body to raise its frequency in general. And so that is a very powerful way. And so let's be mindful of what we're speaking into the world, because this is the fifth chakra actually allows for us to express who we are as truth. And if it's filled with low frequencies, we can't possibly express our truth, much less live our truth. And it really does start there. It's all connected to the heart. But if the throat chakra is all consumed with all these dark energies that Bonnie was describing, it's going to trap the channels between the throat and the heart, and between the heart and the throat. And when those channels get blocked, guess what? We start to have debilitation, and our body feels weak and we feel weak. So it's very, very important to pay attention to that. So speaking of weak bodies and immune systems, I'll do a segue here. If somebody has a question about wondering if the Akashic records can help me release decades of very low immune system and advanced adrenal fatigue. That's just such a great question, because it's so common in our society there's industries built around being gluten-free and, the whole mystery diseases and immune system failure and overactive immune system. There's a whole medical community languaging the issues with our immune system. Just everybody, if you could just close your eyes for one moment, just close your eyes for one moment and think about, maybe even place your left hand on your heart, and just look in your heart and ask yourself, why is humanity experiencing so much anxiety over immune system function? Just ask that question for a moment, and let's just be silent for a few seconds. So you are now getting a taste of what it's like to ask a question to your higher self, to your essence, to your soul. And that's exactly how the Akashic Records can help you. The Akashic Records is like a library of information that you can access that will help you connect with your soul, and not just your soul, but the council of souls that has helped you make the decisions that you have chosen to bring forth in this lifetime, so that you could grow and expand in your awareness as divinity in form. So the answer to your question really is about, well, first of all, the answer is yes. The Akashic Records can help you to utilize information that you're not consciously aware of, to help you see what is the core issue that is involved in your immune system. So now think about it. Our immune system is really that system within us. It's the part of the machinery, because we're really a machine. It's part of the machinery that helps defense. It helps us fight off illness. It helps us fight off bacteria, viruses, organisms that don't belong in this machine. So when you have immune system failure, that could be, and this is just a suggestion because it's different for everyone, but there's a commonality that we are all experiencing as a humanity, why our immune system is not functioning. And part of that, I have to go back to that we are lacking the trust that our bodies can actually take care of themselves, and that the machine has been made and designed to ward off disease and to age in a way with grace. Our bodies don't have to deteriorate. So to the degree that we're not trusting that is the degree to which our body is not working and working well. So if you're a child and your parent constantly is telling you, you're so dumb, what are you doing? There's something wrong with you. You're so dumb. And if you hear that over and over and over again all your life, you're going to start to respond like that's the way you are, that you're dumb, that you're not intelligent, that you don't respond well, that you don't know how to solve problems. And you got that from your parent or from your teacher or from whoever. People are always telling us something about ourselves, and we take that on like it's our truth. So again, it's going back to our own information and listening to our own internal truth. That's where the salvation is, and that's where the truth that is available in the Akashic Records, because the masters and teachers that are in the Akashic Records are never going to tell you something that's not true. They're always going to tell you the truth. And so as you listen to that truth, you'll begin to understand what is the source of that. And maybe your soul is setting you up with a weak immune system so that you can discover the power of who you are as a healer. And I had that experience for myself. I was nearly diagnosed with leukemia a few years ago, and I said, no, that's not what it is. There's something else going on here. And what I discovered is that I had to heal myself. I had to diagnose myself. I had to heal myself so that I can know how powerful I am, so that I can then step into the truth of who I am to be a healer in this world, which is what I came here to do. So everything that is happening in our lives is happening for a reason, and it's different for all of us. So absolutely go into your records, and if you are reading your records, keep asking. Sometimes it takes a little while before we get those answers.
Absolutely. And then the other part to that is that we can absolutely use alchemy and move out those low frequencies, which kind of moves us into this idea to remind you all that fear is a low frequency. And there are many of us who have spent our whole lives picking up these low frequencies off the planet as part of our agreement here in this lifetime. We said, yes, we will volunteer to be almost like a water filtration system, that we can filter the low frequencies through our bodies. And so many of the frequencies, those pain, fear, anger, unconsciousness, shame, blame, all of those ones that we are going to be covering during this series come from us picking them up off the planet, come from the collective, come from an agreement that we had to do just that. So it doesn't necessarily have to have come from us, being in fear, us constantly being fearful. We are definitely not suggesting that is how that shows up, but that it is agreements that we had, that we said, okay, we're going to pick this up, and then there's going to come this time where we are going to be able to clean it out, move it out, and be able to heal from it. So there's lots of reasons why we have these low frequencies in our body.
Yeah, and you just said something so important, Bonnie. When things show up in our life that show up like a challenge, or that show up like something that we're not happy about, we really need to ask, why is this showing up in my life? And the answer, the true answer, is always so that we can overcome it through being our truth. Our body doesn't betray us on its own. Our body betrays us when it betrays us, or when it looks like it betrays us, in response to how we are relating to it. It's a response. It's a machine. Our body is literally a machine. And our body can only function with the material that we're giving it. It's like a car. If you put bad oil in a car, your car is not going to function right. If you put low frequencies into your energetic field, your body can only respond to those low frequencies. And the physical body does not respond well to low frequencies. It breaks down. That's why it's so important for us to step into our truth and continually bring in high frequencies. Say no to the low frequencies, say yes to the high frequencies. There's a t-shirt in there somewhere, Bonnie. Just say no to low frequencies.
I love that. Just say no. Just say no. So I love that Eileen was talking about her having a diagnosis and discovering not to be in fear of her body betraying her, and being able to not go down that path of what doctors would have said. And then I just messed it up. There we go. And Hilda is talking about the belief that someone or something else is what can heal you. One of the most amazing things, if I can absolutely say this about Lily and I, is that we strive so hard to say, this is about you accessing your own information. We want you to learn how to connect with your knowing, so that you are aware, that you can heal, that you have the power. Because we have had people, someone tell us how we can get the access to our own information. We want to pass that on to all of you. This is not about you following us blindly and just going, oh, yes, you all know all the answers. This is very much about you getting your own information. So, and actually, I think, speaking of that, there's a few things we're going to kind of weave in here, because I see some of these things, but we do want to go into some of the messages that we have been getting. And I love that there is another download coming in for the atheist energy that is showing up, and that's actually what I'm being told to talk about. So yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add before I start talking, Lily?
Well, no, except that atheist energy is definitely present here, and we can't help being, and I'm sure you're going to explain about atheist energy, but it's part of what we need to deal with. It's kind of like if you live near the ocean and there's a hurricane, you might have to evacuate. It's not good or bad. It's just part of the game, So having atheist energies move through us is very much part of the human game that we're in. So I'm really glad that you're going to be talking about it, Bonnie. I'm seeing a huge, gigantic sapphire blue frequency coming through, and also rainbow colors coming through for everyone right now, which is really setting you up. It's moving in through the crown chakra and then right into your heart. And a lot of healing is happening between the 7th, 6th, 5th, especially on the 5th. There's a lot of people that are having a hard time with their expressing who they are. So this sapphire blue light, which is also like followed by a rainbow light and a violet, like a violet flame light, is moving in for everyone. So that's really awesome.
I love that you see that violet flame, because the next thing I was going to talk about was that we are clearing any karma and any agreements that are available for anyone on the call. That is kind of an extra bonus to be able to do for you all, because it's an opportunity for you to move out the old energies that aren't serving you, and those old agreements. I think it was probably you, Lily, who started with that. It's kind of like you need to sign off on it. Okay, you completed this check, and then the agreement gets to be moved out and filed in the file cabinet. You definitely don't need it anymore. So we're doing all of that for you as well. So the information that is.
Get my text.
Yep, got your text.
How interesting is that?
All right.
There we go. We got this. Snap. Let's change all that out. So let's talk a little bit about atheist energy and what atheist energy is and why it's so important for us to have a conversation about atheist energy and how that unfolds for us. So atheist energy absolutely has nothing with source creator God. It doesn't have, it's not about that at all. Atheist energy is about you believing that energy is not real, about me believing that energy is not real. And we all have some aspect of this. I know almost no one who does not have this show up in some way. And the reason why we are having this conversation now is because fear is one of those topics that has us like looking out into the world for what am I afraid of, what is going on. If I have a pain in my body, then there must be some reason. Oh, it must have been when I tripped on the sidewalk, or it must have been when I slept on the sofa, or there's some idea that there is something out there that is responsible for why we are having this ache, this pain, this fear, whatever it is that is showing up for us. When in fact, when we can truly step into our awareness, when we can really understand that that energy is real, that energy can be seen, that energy can be heard and can be known and can be felt. And when we truly understand this, then we start to look inward with what is that energy? What is going on with us? What is happening within us that we can address, that we can handle? And we don't have to go to fear. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going to a doctor. There are certainly times when you need to do that, but we do not need to run to a doctor when we have an issue. So the example I'm being told to give you is several weeks ago, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and every 5 minutes or so, I felt like I was having a heart attack. I felt like, my heart was being squeezed and there was something going on. And I was like, finally, after the third or fourth time that it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. And she looked at me, and she can see energy. And she was like, that is pain moving out of your body. And I was like, no way. And she said, absolutely. That is just pain leaving your body. And so I had to readdress my body and say, okay, when you feel that is not something to think, oh my gosh, I need to run to the ER, but instead that is something good, that is a great thing happening. It's, fear and pain moving out of my body. And I want to realign my body to those higher frequencies and understand that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And so I want to give you one of the key codes for realigning your body to go from taking direction from a low frequency to taking direction from a high frequency. Because at every turn, we want to remind our body that we do not want to take direction from the low frequencies. It is certainly easy to do that. We can go into fear in a heartbeat over something, but instead we want to be able to have some tool that we can pull out and go, oh, I don't need to do that. I recognize that this is just a low frequency being triggered, and I want to tune into a higher frequency. So that key code is, love is the only truth. Really that simple. It's a sentence. Love is the only truth. And that literally realigns the body to the higher frequencies that it finds. So your body starts looking around for the love, the gratitude, the joy, the bliss, whatever happens to be in your body. And it goes to that and pulls that out and says, oh, we're supposed to be listening to this. We're not supposed to be paying attention to that fear or that worry or concern or something like that. And it is fascinating how simple it is for all of us to do this ourselves. As I said just a few minutes ago, it's really important to Lily and I that you learn how to take care of you and connect with your own information. Then this thing is going to rock like crazy, right, Lily? Be all sorts of fun going on. But it is, once again, is love is the only truth. And that is a key code. It is a sentence. You say it's a sentence, but it's also a key code and realigns the body to listening to the higher frequencies in our body. It's an absolutely good thing. So this atheist energy also shows up in other aspects of our life. It shows up with how we diagnose things, how we explain what happens in the world. I have my dog throws up and I think, oh my God, my dog must have eaten something really bad. When in fact, it turns out that my dog just saw some really gross energy. Like now that I see that, I'm like, yeah, I would throw up if I saw a whole bunch of spiders coming out of a hole in my floor. So I get it. And it's us starting to have more awareness that it is not necessarily just what we think it is, what we naturally go to, what we were taught to go to. Oh, well, you probably just ate too much, or you probably ate too fast, or, you probably have a little flu bug or something, whatever the answer is that we go to. And there is some more frequencies that are coming in. You all are being wrapped. It's like a swirl that starts at your feet and is going around your body. And it is showing up for me as rainbows, but it's rainbows and there's like a striping of gold running through that. And that is the supreme being, supreme being gold light coming in. It's like, oh my Lord, coming in for all of us to move out so we can have a little more comfort and satisfaction in what is going on in our lives and not be quite so fearful. We don't have to worry about the environment. We don't have to worry about politics. We don't have to worry about anything else that might be your thing to go to. It is absolutely divinely perfect, happening exactly as it's supposed to, just like Lily talking right now.
Well, I just got to say, Bonnie, that as soon as you started doing the key code, love is the only truth, I started having all kinds of anxiety, literally. That's what it felt like. Like my heart started to palpitate a little bit harder, faster, and I started to feel anxiety and nervousness. And this is such the perfect segue. And as you were bringing in the gold, supreme gold, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And I could feel the relief and I could feel the sensations of gratitude for that. Wow. So I want to mention and remind everybody, because there is a lot of new people on this call, and I want to just reiterate again that Bonnie and I opened the Akashic Records before we do this call. And so a lot of the information that's coming through, which we don't know exactly what it is, it's really designed for you. It's customized for you. It's not customized for somebody in Australia that's not listening to us. No, it's customized for you. You need to hear this. And as this information is coming through, it would be really great for you to open your heart. Like literally imagine your heart opening the doors of your heart to receiving this truth, because it really is. So what I'm hearing is I'm being asked to share with you an experience that I've been having. Many of you know that I walk the sunrise every day, and there's an experience that I've been having the last few weeks, which is I'm doing remotes, and I'm working with a group of young people that I'm doing remotes on. It's a group of people between the ages of 25 to 35, and it's actually a group of 15 young people that are experiencing anxiety and depression and not really knowing how to have peace and joy in their life. And as I've been doing these remote healings for this community of these young people, as soon as I start seeing the downloads, which they're coming in for us right now, by the way, the same downloads, some of the same ones that I have been witnessing for this group, which are clarity, illumination, tranquility, comprehension, and divinity. And as these frequencies come through, without exception, I have been experiencing profound levels of nausea. I mean, like tremendous amount of nausea. As these frequencies are coming through, I'm feeling my stomach is just like turning, and you know, Bonnie mentioned her dog throwing up. I've been wanting to throw up every single morning as I'm doing these remotes. And they're wanting me to share this with you, not to gross you out, but to help you understand that when we are bringing in high frequencies like clarity and illumination and comprehension and love and compassion and forgiveness, it literally displaces low frequencies. And I love to talk about the concept, the physical concept of entrainment. As high frequencies come into your energetic field, they lift up the low frequencies that are trapped inside of our subconscious. And as that happens, there's an interaction. It's a chemical interaction. There is actually chemistry happening in our physical body. So that chemical reaction causes us to experience nausea or to experience dizziness or to experience some kind of physical discomfort. And rather than jumping to go get a Tylenol or an Alka-Seltzer or a Tums, I think that's what they use for acid reflux or something like that, rather than trying to cover it up, because that's what the doctors tell us to do when we experience nausea or when we experience dizziness, there's always a medication. And this is what they're wanting to really have everybody listen to this. Man has created, through ego personality, a solution for every single physical discomfort that we experience. And part of that is because there is financial gain and power through coming up with drugs that help us to deal with nausea and headaches and pain and discomfort. There is a financial component, a power component, a control component. We did a call not too long ago about control and how we're programmed and controlled to not be in our truth, but rather to follow someone else's truth. And if we're following someone else's truth, for example, the industry of pharmacology, pharmaceutical companies have a solution for everything that we're feeling. Does that mean that they're healing us? Absolutely not. What they're doing is helping us to be in denial and not see what our body is telling us. Every time that we experience discomfort or anything that is of lack of ease in our body, it's our body signaling something to us. It's like saying, hey, pay attention. I'm trying to tell you something. So if I didn't know energy, and if I had atheist energy working on me in the mornings when I'm doing these remotes, I would be like, oh my God, something is wrong with me. I must be coming down with a virus. I must be coming down with a stomach flu, or something is wrong with me. I better go get checked out. I better go get some blood work done. I better go have something. But instead, I know what's happening. What's happening is that as these high frequencies are coming in, just like they're coming in right now, and I will guarantee that 85% of you that are listening to this call or on this call live, you are experiencing some kind of physical discomfort right now. And the reason why I know that is because I am really clairsentient and I am feeling it. Bonnie, you're probably feeling it too. There's like a level of discomfort physically going on with almost every single person on this call. And that's because these high frequencies are coming in and they're tickling those low frequencies to come up. So what your masters are saying to you, what our masters are saying to us is, give yourself the time to understand and the trust to understand, what is that physical discomfort about? Ask that question. Close your eyes and go in your heart and ask, what is that question? Now, like for me and for Bonnie, we do this all the time. So I don't even have to ask, where's that nausea coming from? I know immediately where it's coming from because I know I'm downloading bunches and bunches and like literally tons of high frequencies. And I'm doing it for 15 people in a community. I'm sure everybody on this call, you're either someone that is between age 25 and 35, or you have a child that is between the ages of 25 and 35 that is experiencing some kind of really severe discomfort through anxiety, through depression, or something like that. And it is not fun. And these young people need our support, and how we can support them is by us understanding that all of that is really for us to heal, and it's a sign for us to say, okay, there must be something going on here. What is that? And in that moment, you have to assume that your soul is trying to tell you something. If you're feeling that discomfort, something is coming up so that it can get cleared. And Bonnie alluded to that. It's coming up so that it can be healed. It's coming up so that it can be cleared. So going back to the example that was raised about the immune system, if you're having an issue with your immune system, you need to try to understand from a soul perspective, what's going on with my immune system? Where do I feel lack of trust that I'm protected? Where am I not trusting that I'm protected? And what is the teaching for me? And how can I step into that? And the best way to do that is to connect with your soul and say, all right, soul, I know that you're in charge. Dear essence, show me what I need to do. What would you have me do? Because all these low frequencies are generated by our ego personality. Our ego personality cannot survive without those low frequencies. So our ego personality fights to have those low frequencies. Our ego personality fights for us to be in fear, to be in pain, to be in discomfort. So we need our ego personality for obvious reasons, but it's up to us to say, wait a minute, ego personality, I'm in charge here. My soul is in charge here, not you. So you can do your fear thing, and I'm going to bring in love. And then in that moment, you put your left hand out and let the frequency of love come through you. Speak it in your mind, see it in your heart. Love is the only truth. Let that frequency come in and let it move through your entire body, and allow yourself to feel that momentary discomfort and be in gratitude that, oh my gosh, I'm moving this stuff out. How fabulous is that? Thank you, and thank your essence. Thank your soul for allowing you to see what it is that you need to see in that moment, because it is. And sometimes those low frequencies, we've been carrying them not just for ourselves through all these lifetimes, but we've been carrying them for the collective, for the human collective. Most of us that are on this call, whether we're here live or listening, you're here because you are moving things for the collective, and we all are moving something for the collective. And as we're doing that, we're going to experience the discomfort of that. And this is a theme that comes up over and over for me in the readings that I do and in the healing sessions that I witness. It comes up in different ways, and for everybody it's slightly different, but it's a common theme, which tells me that it's something that we're moving through as a humanity. And it's a really beautiful thing. So now I'm seeing this huge, it's like a dome. And I'm putting my glasses on, like I can see it better with my glasses.
I was wondering what you were doing.
It was so hilarious. They're really laughing at me because I really feel like if I put my glasses on, I'll see this dome a little bit better. But it looks like a dome, and it's like a half a dome, and it's like it's over all of us as a community. And I'm also seeing like we each have our own dome also available to us, and it's protecting us, our entire energetic field. But this dome is kind of like, it's a gift that we're receiving right now to kind of fortify this idea that everything is in divine order and that we're okay. And I saw a post that you did recently today, Bonnie, in one of the group meets that we have, that is like, the best news is that I can't get it wrong. and I love that, because I've been hearing that a lot. I've been hearing myself say that to a lot of people. You can't get it wrong. And so this dome that's being gifted to us is like a gift of it's like an umbrella, right? So it's helping us to keep the raindrops from drenching our hair, and instead helping us to still experience the rain, because when you have an umbrella, you can still experience the rain, but you're keeping dry. And so that's what this dome is serving as, like giving us the ability to experience the experiences that we are having as a soul in a body. Because there's a lot of experiences that we're having that we came here to have. We want these experiences. We want the experience of someone hurting our feelings or breaking our heart. If we didn't want the experience of someone breaking our heart, we wouldn't invoke it. We wouldn't create it. We wouldn't have it. We would not have an agreement for someone to break our heart if our soul didn't want us to have that experience. So, but now think about it. Why would our soul want us to have the experience of a broken heart? Think about that for a second. Why would our soul want us to have the experience of a broken heart? It's one of the most painful things that any of us ever goes through. It's worse than having a terminal disease. In some cases, I've talked with people. I myself have gone through at least 2 broken hearts where I felt I would be better off being dead. That's how bad a heartbreak feels. But why would our soul put us through that? And they really want us to get this. This umbrella, this dome that they're giving to us, is going to help us all to be able to experience that broken heart and maintain our power. Helping us to experience lack of money and still maintain our power. Help us to experience someone hurting our feelings or having something really bad happen to us. Being in an accident and becoming paralyzed, that's a horrible experience. But this dome will help us to be able to experience that, because we cannot have any experience in our life that we didn't already agree to. The problem is we forget we agreed to it. So we said we want to experience rain, but then we forget our umbrella and we go out in the rain and maybe we get hit by lightning or we get drenched and we fall in a puddle and we break our leg. That's how life is. We forget we said we want to have that experience. So how do we maintain that experience and have that experience and still remain in our truth? And we do that through trust. And this dome is going to help us to do that. And we're all getting one. I'm seeing now being downloaded to every single person. And it's so beautiful. It's like, and now the dome has actually become an oval shape, it's almost like a blanket for us to help us feel like not impermeable, but almost like the experience can literally just like fall off of us and we can still have the experience, because every experience that we have is an experience that Source is also experiencing through us. Through us, Source gets to experience all the things that we're experiencing. If you've ever heard that expression, and we've mentioned it a couple of times, God needs a body. And we are the body that God needs so that God can experience all these beautiful experiences that we have. Some are low, not such nice experiences, but if we can shield ourselves and stay in our truth, that is what we came here to do. And that's why we're calling all these experiences, and that's what we're clearing, and that's what we have the opportunity to do as a contribution for humanity, is to be able to say, yes, I said yes to the experience, so now let me have this experience, but let me stand in my truth and let me trust that my soul knows what it's doing so that I can move through this experience with power, with grace, with ease, with love, with hope, with trust. Oh, this just feels so beautiful. Oh, this dome, not only is it like a shield around us, but it also has crystal activations that are moving through for everyone right now. And they're being downloaded from the Crystal Palace. Beautiful crystal activations, and I'm seeing them. A lot of them are very clear. There are a lot of quartz, clear quartz, and now I'm seeing rainbow quartz crystal coming through for everyone. Rainbow frequencies are relatively new to the planet, as are some frequencies like illumination and radiance, but they're definitely coming in for everyone. So, and I think my time is up, but they're telling me that these frequencies are going to be downloading for us for the next 24 hours. So open your heart to them, allow them to come through for you, and ask your essence to help you see the truth about who you are. I'm done, Bonnie. I'm kind of vibrating right now.
So we do want to thank everyone who has popped into the group chat. We absolutely love that you write all of that information and share all those things with us. We certainly appreciate that. Next week, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and we know there'll be those of you who are busy cooking and you can just tune in and listen to us while you're busy cooking or while you're busy doing something else. Share us with your family, for goodness sakes. We are going to be doing discernment or judgment. And this one is humongous, because when we can have clarity around the difference between judging something and being very clear about the information, it is going to make a world of difference in your life. You will absolutely see that. We are going to have the month of November, the month of December, and we're even thinking maybe the month of January is going to be all about our chakras and you all understanding how important that essential chakra guide and activation series is. We're going to be doing a lot for that. So please look for that information on Facebook and on our new website that Lily was already talking about. Share the link with a friend. Know that you are going to be getting the email tomorrow morning to how you can listen to this on SoundCloud, how you can watch it again on YouTube, how you can share it with other people. And also, please know how much we love and appreciate you guys for giving up a Tuesday night, tuning in, for making a difference in healing humanity.
Yes, we love you so much. Have a phenomenal, phenomenal week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and good night, everyone.
Good night.